see that reinforcement rib that is cast into the housing. That feature there was only found on the early produced Willys Jeeps. At Army Jeep Parts, we offer a full line of parts and service for military Jeeps ranging from World War II all the way through the Vietnam era M151 series. So that also includes the M38 and the M38A1, which were made in the 50s and 60s. Both parts, knowledge, and service covering all those vehicles. Our rebuild program also at Army Jeep Parts is quite extensive. So the only thing we really don't do in-house is engines. I have a shop that we work with that do the rebuilds on those for us. But pretty much everything else mechanically on the vehicle, from front and rear axles to drive shafts, steering boxes, carburetors, fuel pumps, distributors in some cases, transmission transfer cases. That stuff, we do all that stuff in-house. This is our main area where we do all kinds of work, service on the Jeeps. So a lift here, area here to work on additional projects, whether it's in this case some frames that are being restored. This Jeep in the background is a 43 GPW from Louisville, Kentucky, and was built in Louisville. And we're doing a full mechanical go through, wiring harness, engine rebuild on that. Not so much a repaint or anything like that, but it's more of a make everything on the Jeep mechanically back as close to new as we can and make it so he can jump in and drive it, use it however he wants to with no worries. But anyway, but I mean, we have the ability between the back shop and the front shop to rebuild most everything we need here, like I say, with the exception of engines. So I've got drill mill press over here, several benches here. You can see we're doing carburetor rebuilding right now. In these shelves over here, you've got all the spare parts for rebuilding carburetors, fuel pumps. There you can see the bases for the carburetors that have been reparkerized. And then the specialty tools we need, water pump stuff. A lot of our stuff when we do carburetors are put in the ultrasonic cleaner here. So that stuff has been torn down. And then over here, you can see the ultrasonic cleaned housings of the M151 carburetors before they're, they haven't been built up yet, but they've gone through the cleaning process and are now ready to go ahead and start building. We're building here, in this case, we're building a new engine for our test stand in the back where we do all the carburetor testing after we rebuild them. So we're building a fresh engine. That one's, we can get an honorable discharge. It's definitely done its due and been testing carburetors for years, so we're building a fresh motor for that. That's the engine transmission transfer case for the GPW, and that's all rebuilt and basically close to going back in. We'll put some more accessories on it first before it ends up going back in the Jeep. And the axle just went in. That axle has been fully gone through from all the ring and pinion and the bearings and the knuckles, and that's being built back up. We use our parts personally. If I'm selling you an item that's mechanical, 9 times out of 10, it's a part we've used here in the shop on our own projects or customer's project, or we've built transmissions or transfer cases or steering boxes or axles with those parts. So if there's an issue with that part, or we know the quality is not where we want it to be, we're going to find out when we go to build with it. And at that point, either flag it, discontinue selling that part, search for a new vendor. So when you buy a part from Army Jeep Parts, especially mechanical stuff, it's a part that we know will work correctly on your Jeep because we've used it and we have direct experience with it. So back here, I have the ability to do any welding, basically in any type of material, from doing TIG to MIG. So I can do aluminum, stainless, whatever we need to repair something or weld something if we need to. Press over here, another heavy duty bench for doing any kind of heavy work or welding work. See glass cooling cabinet. That bench is usually used for disassembly, for breaking parts down. Spray booth, We have a small kiln for baking parts if we need to. And then this setup here is for doing all the carburetor testing once they're done. And in this case, you've got an M151 carburetor on the test stand. And some of the ones up on the shelf up there are units that are finished and just waiting to be tested before they get put back on the shelf. And here, this is all aerosols in stock in the cabinets here, and then gallons in the other cabinets. This is the area where we stage our orders. It goes over there to the shipping area to go out UPS, FedEx. We do a lot of post office too at this point, so we're shipping usually 3 different ways every day. So it gives us total flexibility on getting the best price for shipping, depending on the size of the package, and for time, if it's time sensitive. So we hadn't been doing that for a while, but now we have the post office showing up every day and picking up and delivering, as does FedEx and UPS. They come here twice a day. And so we get orders in the morning and then can turn stuff over and get shipped out if we need to later in the day. We go into the parts aisles. So aerosol stock here, but this is M151 parts. On this first aisle here, engine stuff, and then upstairs is where the balance of the M151 goes. And then the remaining of the aisles are basically the, we'll say, pre-M151 Jeep parts, small parts, starting with engine group, moving this way, finishing up with body and some of the gingerbread detail parts. We just got a shipment in from a container, so we've got cartons and stuff that are being ripped apart. We do stock a large inventory of hardware. So these drawers here are all types of specialty hardware that's correct for doing restoration work. CJ parts we do handle, primarily only early stuff though. So 2A, 3A, some early 5, certainly some 3B because that crosses over. We're looking at about 4,000 square feet, 4,500 square feet. The back part is about 10,500. So we're just under 17,000 square feet total. So this is tire stock in here. The back, like I say, it's mostly bulk. So this area here is for any gun-related stuff, for machine gun parts. And then these are just projects up on the wall here. To some viewers, this Jeep will be familiar. The original 62 CJ5. Next to it is my first Jeep, the one I bought when I was 13, the 41 Slack Girl, December 23rd. The company was founded in about 1973. There's 2 gentlemen, Dave Urig and Howard Dunst, that had an interest in military vehicles. My relationship with Dave Urig goes back to those early days when I first bought the Slack Girl. Dave was almost like a fatherly figure to me in relation to the Jeep world. I was this young kid who was very enthusiastic and wanted to do as correct a restoration as I could on this Jeep. So he was, we were buying parts, and he would send me parts as a gift or give me nice discounts. And at Christmas time, invariably a gift would show up wrapped up. And one year I opened it up, and it was a new old stock air cleaner for my Slack Girl. And another time, I believe I got a new old stock top for my Slack Girl, both of which, of course, are still on the Jeep and with the Jeep. Going back around, we have on the other side, we have more of the hard parts. So there's engines, axles, and then there again, just overflow for mechanical parts, so camshafts, and whether it's takeout parts or new old stock parts. Here you can see top bows for both the M151 series and for the earlier Jeeps. This aisle, it's generally grouped. So this is pretty much all heavy stuff over here. Like I say, engines, transmission, axle related. This side is a mix of engine stuff over here. Some axles, heater kits and stuff like that down there. The phone call came, and basically, I'm selling Army Jeep parts, so would you be interested in purchasing business? I am a young guy, just about to get married. Don't have a lot of financial, resources at that point, personally. And so I was very excited by the prospect of it, but didn't know, how how could this possibly happen? There's hoods, grills, wheels, and I think there's more hoods and some gas tanks and stuff up there. Most of that stuff is older stuff, takeout stuff, which some people, they don't want to get repro, so they'll buy a takeout tank and restore it themselves, because there again, some of the new stuff that you can get, the fit and the quality is just not what they want, so they'll buy a used one instead and restore it. And, might spend a lot of time on it, but they'll rather have that than the reproduction piece. So that's more M151 stuff here in the stacks in here. And then this aisle is totally jammed up right now with just a lot of stuff. But this is frame and steering, and then a lot of sheet metal parts, floor pans and bumpers and things like that. 14 kits up above, up top there. And in the back there's some canvas related stuff, seat cushions and things. This is radio related in here, antennas to bases, seat frames. Those are the original World War II ambulance kits up there. They convert a World War II Jeep into an ambulance. Kind of cool kit, made by the Chain Link Fence Company. Beyond the gut feeling of maybe being like, wow, this is big and this could be scary, I also knew that it was the right thing. That the fit for me personally was good, and that the different skills that I've been building up to that point, all my knowledge that I've been building since I was 13 years old doing restoration work, was sort of my proving ground and my knowledge that I had built. So when I got on the phone with a customer, I knew the ins and outs of his vehicle, whether it was a World War II Jeep, an M38, or an M38A1.
How do you get all this stuff?
27 years of buying. Buying inventories and the original inventory when I bought it, so that I just added to over the years. So it's just a cumulative process. And my goal always have been, to sell quality parts, to sell the parts that I had bought over the years from Army Jeep Parts when I was the customer, and now would be on the other side of the coin, selling to my customers.
Roll B, scene B2, take one. Mark.
Action!